So, you've been doing speech and language therapy with your child for weeks, maybe even months, and you're wondering, is this actually helping? Or maybe you've been thinking, why are they playing with my child instead of doing real therapy? Or, I wish we had more one-to-one sessions. Surely that will make a bigger difference. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. I hear this all the time as a speech and language therapist. My name is Varsha, and I've been a speech and language therapist for over 20 years, working in the NHS, including Great Ormond Street Hospital for nearly 10 years. And today, I want to have an honest chat to you about why one-to-one therapy might not be working and what actually makes the biggest difference to your child's progress. So many parents come to us and say, my child's been in speech and language therapy for ages and I'm not seeing a difference. Or can we have more one-to-one therapy? Or even, they're just playing. What's that got to do with talking? And you know what? I get it. I'm a parent too. So when you're worried about your child's communication, you just want to see progress and you want to see it fast. You want something concrete, something that feels like therapy. And here's the thing, the type of therapy matters. And one-to-one sessions aren't always the magic fix that we hope they'll be. In fact, they're often not the most effective approach, especially for younger children or neurodivergent children. Okay, so bear with me. I want to make an analogy with weight loss. Most of us know how to lose weight, right? So whether we do it or not is another thing. You might think, I'll get a personal trainer once a week, or I'll go to the gym on Saturday. That's a brilliant first step. And for some people, that weekly boost does help kick things off. But deep down, we all know that's not enough. Real progress comes from doing weight-bearing exercise 3 to 4 times a week, increasing your NEAT, that's your daily movement, like walking to the shops and taking the stairs, keeping an eye on what you're eating, and being consistent. There's nuances like protein and fiber, but the big picture is this. That one weekly gym session isn't going to do it alone, right? One-to-one therapy is like that personal trainer. Yes, they're the expert. They help check your form, they tell you what kind of workout to do and how to do it. They give you a plan, they motivate you, but you still have to do the work outside the session. And it's the same with your child's speech and language therapy. Your therapist is going to guide you, check you're on track, adjust your goals, but it's the stuff that happens in between the sessions that really builds those skills. And I'll be honest, as a parent myself, I couldn't manage 30 to 40 minutes of sit down therapy every day with my kids. I just wouldn't have the time, and I honestly wouldn't have the patience. And most preschoolers and neurodivergent kids don't have the attention span for that either. So instead, I would do short, natural 2 to 3 minute bursts here and there. Maybe you repeat the word go at the park on the swing and the slide or the roundabout, or you talk about in and on while unpacking the shopping together. Practice the k sound before, during, and after getting in the car. Maybe even using the car's reflection to see their open mouth. That adds up. So when you see your speech and language therapist next, they can perhaps assess what's working and help you move forward faster. Another thing I hear, they're just playing with my child. And yes, they probably are. And they're doing this on purpose, but not because they've run out of ideas or they can't be bothered. It's because play is how children learn. Think about it. Physiotherapy isn't just a massage. Losing weight isn't just eating salads, thank God. And speech and language therapy isn't just sitting at a table doing flashcards or mouth exercises. Far from it. Speech and language therapist always has a goal in mind. They're just embedding it into what your child enjoys, which makes it more effective and more fun. My son, for example, was never into traditional toys, but give him a hoover or a mop and he was thrilled. That's what we used. Household objects became our therapy tool. For other children, it might be trains or dinosaurs or Peppa Pig. All of these can be used to help in speech and language therapy. Just like with exercise, I might enjoy lifting weights. You might prefer walking. Jennifer Aniston might prefer playing tennis. If you like it, you'll stick with it and make progress. It's the same for our kids. Fun and enjoyment has to be at the centre of teaching them new things. Now let's talk about another one I hear. They're just making me do the therapy. And yes, that's intentional. If your speech and language therapist is coaching you to do the therapy, that's a sign of a really good therapist. They're likely using an approach like Hanen, It Takes Two to Talk, or a parent-child interaction, PCI. These focus on the fundamentals of communication and interaction. It broadly involves things like getting down to your child's level, following their lead and responding to what they're saying or what they're doing, expanding on what they're saying, commenting instead of questioning, and giving them space to respond. The idea is to help you make small tweaks to your daily interactions, and those tweaks are backed by solid research. So think of it like meat. Again, the small stuff that adds up over time. This helps make sure the foundations for good communication are in place before we start introducing more specific strategies. And that's exactly why it's often the first port of call for so many services. This same principle actually applies to schools, especially for autistic children. If a child struggles to initiate or to ask for help or to choose an activity using visuals, a weekly or even twice weekly one-to-one session isn't going to change that. Instead, working with the staff, setting goals together, training the teacher and the teaching assistant and those around the child, embedding strategies into their day, every day, in as many tasks as possible will help. 10 natural opportunities throughout the day are going to be so much more powerful than 30 minutes once a week. Now, I'm definitely not saying that one-to-one therapy is never needed. And actually, the research shows that there's some children who really benefit from it, like those with childhood apraxia of speech, also called verbal dyspraxia, children with stammers or stutters, children with severe speech sound disorders or persistent language difficulties in school-age children in particular, children with neurological conditions. Sorry, there's a lot of technical terms in there, but you only need to think about them if you know your child has them. But, and this is important, even for these children, research consistently shows that the parent involvement and regular practice in everyday life makes all the difference. Think of it like having a personal trainer. They might help you strengthen your glutes, or they might help you improve your flexibility, but it only really works if you're doing the stretches or the workouts between the sessions too. Speech and language therapy is just the same. Your speech and language therapist will guide the approach and they'll set the goals, but real progress happens when parents or carers or teachers or teaching assistants are also working on the goal and the activities during the week. Now you might be thinking, this all sounds great, but I'm not even involved in my child's therapy, or I don't know how to do any of this stuff at home. If that's the case, ask your speech and language therapist. If your child is of a preschool age, the chances are you're present at the therapy session. That's your chance to ask questions and observe and say, can you show me how I can support this at home? Or ask them if you can carry out one or two activities to help your confidence and practice. If your child is at a special school and you don't see the therapist in person, it's still absolutely okay and encouraged to get in touch. Ask for a call, request a meeting, even a quick email conversation can go such a long way. And believe it or not, we love it when parents want to be involved. We know how powerful the at-home connection is. It's honestly what makes the biggest difference. You can also be really honest and say, you know what, I've got time twice a day for 2 minutes while doing the laundry, or I can do 10 minutes sit down play sessions after dinner. That kind of information helps your speech and language therapist give you realistic, doable goals that actually fit your life, not a fantasy schedule no one can stick to. And I get it. Motivation is hard. Parenting is exhausting. Sometimes you just want to get the shopping done without it turning into a therapy session. With my daughter, I find it hard to do the times tables, so I ask her 3 questions when I get in the car, then I clock off. But that tiny bit done consistently is making a difference. Don't overcomplicate it. You don't have to do everything, and it definitely doesn't have to be perfect. Like I have found with starting this YouTube channel, it felt so big and so hard, but I started it. It's not perfect, I know, but I'm learning as I go. And look, I'm making videos. So if you've been doubting your child's therapy or wondering if one-to-one is the answer, I really hope this video helped you. The truth is, you are your child's best therapist. With support, the right tools, and everyday practice, you can make a massive difference. And honestly, that's why I created this channel, to help parents like you. If you found this helpful, please give it a like, subscribe, and share it with a friend. And let me know in the comments what other questions you would like me to answer about speech and language development. Thanks for watching, and remember, you've got this.